Hello and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Tyler Watts, and today I will be flying solo. All the other guys are off today, so you guys are stuck with just me. In today's episode, I will discuss the news of the day, then I will continue our players you want to own, stream, and drop series on the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, guys, just me today, so let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the news of today. We saw the first game under the Nets' new interim coach, Tony Brown. And, of course, the Nets got blown out by the Spurs 106-79. Brown made a change to the starting lineup. He put in Wayne Ellington and Donald Sloan. Donald Sloan started a point guard, played 24 minutes. And he made one shot, got you 5 assists and 1 block. Him and Shane Larkin basically split the point guard minutes tonight, both getting 24 minutes. Now it was a blowout, so I'm going to try not to read too much into this game. But I feel like that Larkin is probably still the point guard you want to own. I don't know that I'm owning either guy in a standard league. I'm probably, owning both guys maybe in like a 14 or 16 team league. I just don't really think it's that valuable. I think both guys are going to get, a handful of assists, so I don't mind streaming them in a standard league, if you need some assists at the end of a week. But I don't think either guy is going to have super high value. Wayne Ellington started at shooting guard tonight. He played 29 minutes. He was 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line. He had 3 rebounds and 2 steals. I don't think you're going to get huge production out of Wayne Ellington either, but if he's going to get 30 to 35 minutes a game, he might be someone worth owning or at least streaming in a league. As far as other news from this game, there wasn't a ton. Brook Lopez had himself a good game. He had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. He was probably about the best guy in the Nets. Joe Johnson was awesome from the field. He had 6 out of 7 shots, 2 of 2 from 3. 2 of 2 from the line. He had 16 points, but he got you 3 rebounds and absolutely nothing else. On the Spurs side of the ball, LaMarcus Aldridge had a great game. He had 25 and 11 with 2 assists. And Kawhi Leonard had 8 rebounds, 17 points, and a steal. The guy that I wanted to talk about a little bit from the Spurs is this Boban Marjanovic. He's a big center. He's a guy who doesn't get to play that much, but in 13 minutes, he ended up scoring 13 points on 5 of 7 from the field. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. And the blocks are really the thing. Like every time this season that he's gotten more than 15 minutes, he's gotten at least 1 block and sometimes 2 or 3 or 4. And so I'm thinking that if he can ever get some minutes for the Spurs, he could be a good block asset if you need one. So that's something just to keep an eye on. Like if you're in a dynasty league, this could be a guy that if he ever gets any minutes could be a good asset for blocks. The next thing I want to talk about is the return of Joakim Noah. The Wizards played the Bulls tonight, and Joakim Noah returned. And so we got our first look at what the Bulls front court is going to be like. Joakim Noah returned. He played 19 minutes. He was 0 of 7 from the field, had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal, and he had 0 points. That's a very typical Joakim Noah game. He's going to get you good rebounds. He's going to get you really good assists for a center, and he's going to get you some steals and some blocks, but he's going to not be a very good asset in the points category. So, you got to know what you're buying there with Joakim Noah. The front court minute split looked like this. Mirotic got 29 minutes. Pau Gasol got 29 minutes. Taj Gibson got 19 minutes. Joakim Noah got 19 minutes. Bobby Portis got 11 minutes. Now, it's only one game, so we don't want to read too much into that, but I feel like that's kind of how it's going to be going forward. I think that, Noah and Gibson are going to get the second heap of minutes, and Portis is going to be reduced to anywhere from like 8 to 12 minutes a night. So if you're owning Bobby Portis in a league, now would probably be the time to cut bait and, wait for another injury maybe and then pick him back up. Mirotic got 29 minutes, even though he didn't really shoot the ball that well, which I think was a good sign for him. And it seemed like Coach Fred Hoiberg had only been playing him like when he got off to a hot shooting start but he played 29 minutes tonight. He only had 7 points, but he had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. So, I mean, it's not great production, but in the blocks and steals categories, you got to love that. Plus, the 2 assists are nice. Derrick Rose started out really hot from the field in this game, but he finished with 23 points. He was 8 of 13 from the field, had 2 3-pointers. He was 5 of 5 from the line, but he got you 1 assist and 1 block, which really didn't help too much. Flipping over to the Wizards side of the ball, and the Wizards won this game 114-100 in kind of a blowout. John Wall had his usual double-double, 10 assists and 17 points, 3 steals, 1 block, 5 rebounds, 2 3-pointers. I feel like John Wall has been playing really well lately, and I still feel like some people are still mad at him for that slow start he got off to for the year, but, I mean, he's definitely a first-round value. Not a whole lot to say of him in this game. I mean, Otto Porter had a decent game with 2 steals, 2 assists, 8 rebounds, and 14 points, and 2 3-pointers. I feel like he's a guy, that might be overlooked a little bit. Otto Porter is ranked 52nd in Mark's rest of season 8 category roto rankings. He's up 100 spots from the preseason. I feel like this is the kind of guy that you could probably buy at a discounted rate. If he's going to give you, top 50 to 60 production for the rest of the year, I think you could probably buy him for a player like outside the top 75 or 80 and get yourself a great value for the rest of the season. So that would be something I would look into doing. The Wizards are finally getting healthy here. Nene played 20 minutes tonight. Drew Gooden played 27 minutes. So, their front court, some of those guys who have been missing a few games are finally getting back. DeJuan Blair came back, played 13 minutes. And the big news here was that Gortat actually sat out with a sore left knee. And no one really knows how long Gortat's going to be out. Hopefully this is just a minor thing. But Nene moved into the starting lineup with Gortat out. He had 14 points on 7 of 11 shooting. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And, I mean, I feel like Nene would be a guy you could pick up and stream if Gortat's going to miss games. Drew Gooden also got 27 minutes. He had 12 rebounds, 3 assists, a block on 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line for 10 points. He also shot 4 3-pointers. Now, he didn't make one, but Chris Humphries is out for this game too. So I feel like, with Nene, Drew Gooden, and then they played a little bit of small ball, moving Jared Dudley down to the 4. I feel like, those are the kind of guys you're going to want to pick up if Humphrey and Gortat continue to miss games, but I wouldn't be like crazily adding them. I feel like they're more stream options. If you need some rebounds, or in Gooden's case, maybe if you're looking for a 3 from a big guy, he might be able to hit you one. On to the last game of the night, which it's only in the second quarter right now, tied 43-43. But the big news to take out of this Miami Golden State game was Hassan Whiteside sat out again with that knee injury. He had played in the last 3 games, but he had missed the game before that with, I'm pretty sure, the same knee injury. So this is something to monitor going forward. Maybe Hassan is fine. Maybe he's not. This is just definitely a situation you want to look at. With Hassan out, they moved Justice Winslow into the starting lineup. They've also been playing pretty small against Golden State tonight, with Chris Bosh at center, Dang at the 4, and Justice Winslow at the 3. And Gerald Green has actually played the most minutes right now, tied for the most minutes on the team with 15. I feel like that's kind of the way they're going to go if Hassan Whiteside has to sit out in most games, is they're going to play Gerald Green and they're going to move those other guys down. So that's something to look at going forward. All right, now we're going to get back into our team-by-team breakdown. Like Mark's explained in the past, we're like about 40% through the season now. 40 games in the season. 40% through the season now. And we're going through team by team and discussing the players you want to own going forward on these teams, the players you want to stream on these teams for the rest of the season, and the players you should just drop right now. And so the team I'm going to talk about today is the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like the Los Angeles Lakers, which are my favorite team, and I feel like I would be the perfect person to tackle this team, because I think I've seen more Lakers games than anyone probably has should have seen this season. I feel like they really only have one player to own for the rest of the season, and that's Jordan Clarkson. He's ranked 73rd in Mark's 8 category rest of season Roto rankings. On the season, he is shooting 44% from the field, 80% from the line. He's making 1 3-pointer a game, 3.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.2 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 15.1 points. I feel like his best category, are steals and points. He gives you that nice 3-pointer, a few rebounds, a few assists boost. I feel like he's probably a top 75 player for the rest of the season. So he's definitely someone I'd want to own going forward. And I feel like, he's not going to be like a great contributor, but I feel like, if you need some points boost with some decent assists, a steal, a 3-pointer, some decent percentages from a guard, he's the type of guy I'd be going after. The Lakers have a few players that you can stream on their team. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Lou Williams. And, Lou Williams is a borderline ownable player in a 10 or 12 team standard league. In a 12-team league, in a standard league, I might own Lou Williams and just keep him on my roster. He's ranked 94th in Mark's 8 category rest of season Roto rankings. He only shoots 40% from the field on 10 attempts. But Lou's big boost is from the line. He shoots 81.5% this season. And I could see that moving up to like 82 or 83%. He's a great free throw shooter, and he's shooting it on 5.8 attempts this season. So, that's a big boost to your free throw category. He's also averaging 1.6 3-pointers on the year, 2.7 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 15.1 points. The more I look at Lou, the more I think about owning him. He's going to bring your field goal percentage way down, but he's going to give you a huge boost from the line if you're looking for that. He doesn't give you great production anywhere. The 3-pointers are probably his best category with 1.6, and the 15 points are nothing to sneeze at. I feel like Lou Williams is a good fit for, certain team builds. And, if you're owning Lou Williams, I don't have a problem with that, but I think he's probably more of a stream option in 10-team leagues. The next guy I want to talk about is D'Angelo Russell. I feel like D'Angelo Russell had a couple good games there, and then, he's out with this ankle injury now. But for the season, D'Angelo Russell is shooting 40% from the field, 68.6% from the line, which isn't great. He's averaging 1.5 3-pointers, 3.9 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1.2 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 11.7 points. If you guys were watching the other night when they played the Kings, he was instrumental in their comeback, and then he twisted his ankle and had to sit out the rest of the game, but he was great in that game. He had 27 points. I feel like he may be more of a scorer than a point guard, even though he was billed as a really great assist guy. I think that if he gets the minutes, he could really, he's actually been proven that he's a decent scorer and a decent shooter from the 3-point line. So, he's a guy I'm streaming in if I need a 3, if I need, a handful of assists. The big drawback for him is he's only playing 27.1 minutes this season. I figured on a struggling team like the Lakers, they would be trying to get him as many minutes as they can. But they've been letting Jordan Clarkson play the point guard and start at point guard, let Lou Williams play shooting guard. And they've been basically keeping Russell as the backup point guard. So, unless he starts getting, some big minutes, 30 to 32 minutes a game, I don't really see holding on to D'Angelo Russell. I see him more of as a stream option. So it's something to monitor going forward. If he gets the big minutes, I could see him, taking a leap in value. But as of right now, I'm just gonna keep streaming him in. The next guy we're gonna talk about on the Lakers is Julius Randle. Another guy that I feel like he should be starting and getting a lot more minutes, but Byron Scott, great coach of the Lakers. Okay, I shouldn't say great. I should say maybe terrible coach of the Lakers. Just doesn't seem to understand that they're not going to win anything and they need to develop these young players. He keeps benching Randall, and it seems like they're kind of feuding. which I really don't understand. I feel like Julius Randle is a cornerstone of their franchise. If they're ever going to be good, they need this guy to get better and produce for them. And Coach Scott does not seem to feel the same way because he continues to start Larry Nance over him, who is a rookie and I don't think near as good of a player, but who knows what Coach Scott is thinking. But in his 26.4 minutes this season, Julius Randle is shooting 40.3% from the field, 68.7% from the line. He's averaging 9.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, zero point 0.7 steals, 0.3 blocks, and 10.7 points. In the past, I've heard Randle billed as like Zach Randolph light. He's a big points and rebounds guy. But I think that if he got 30 to 32 minutes, which he should get on this team, if Coach Scott ever realizes that this should be the guy who starts and gets big minutes, I think he could also get close to a steal a game. And I feel like, that if he can get that percentage up, now 40% from your power forward is killer. And I understand that. But if he can get that percentage up a little bit to like 40 to 40, 45, 44, 45, I feel like he wouldn't be killing you in that. And he could easily average in 30 to 32 minutes, like 10.5 to 11 rebounds and 11.5 to 12 points. And that would be a pretty good value if you're throwing in a steal and like 2 assists. He's actually an underrated passer, I think. And he could get you, a few assists from a power forward spot that some other guys are not giving you. And so if he ever gets the minutes, I wouldn't say that he becomes a must-own player, but he would definitely be an interesting player. Now, the way Coach Scott runs a rotation, even if he starts, he may not get those minutes that he needs. But I would be a big fan of seeing how that would look. If he got the starting role, it would be something I'd keep my eye on. And if he did and he started producing, some big rebounds, points numbers with a steal a game and 2 assists, I would pick him up. The next stream guy is Larry Nance Jr. Now, Larry Nance Jr. is starting at the power forward position. And, he's still only getting 20 minutes a game, but I feel like, he got 37 minutes in the last game. And I feel like, every once in a while, Coach Scott just decides to play this guy big minutes. And usually in those games, he gets a double-double with a steal and a block. Now, that would be valuable if it kept happening, but in the last 5 games, he's gotten 37, 22, 18, 20, and 32 minutes. It's like he can't decide on a rotation and stick with it, which is kind of disappointing. But, I guess he's trying to develop Nance, but at the same time, he's sacrificing developing Randle. I don't see why these two maybe can't just play in the front court together. They're the 2 pieces that the Lakers should want to develop if they're going to be a decent team in the future. And we're going to talk about a player here in a minute that I think the Lakers should just maybe give up on. Also limiting the minutes of Nance and Randle is Brandon Bass. He's throwing Bass out there for about 15 to 20 minutes a night, I want to say. And 17.5 minutes a game so far for Bass. And I feel like, he's just kind of splitting up the minutes so much that any of these guys are hard to own. So, that's really kind of all the stream options they have. Really, the only ones I'm looking to stream are Lou Williams if I need points and threes boost with a nice, with about a steal a game. Russell if I want some points, a couple assists, a 3-pointer, and a steal. And Julius Randle, if I need rebounds at the end of a week, I'm definitely streaming him in. He's a good shot for a double-double if he actually gets the minutes. The players on the Lakers I want to drop. The first guy I definitely want to drop is Roy Hibbert. I feel like he's been a disappointment the last 2 seasons. And even though he didn't really get picked that high this year playing for the Lakers, I feel like he's still been a disappointment. He's only averaging 25.7 minutes a game. He's shooting 42.8% from a center. And that's a big big hit to your team. Now, he is shooting 84.9% from the line. I don't really think that's going to stand up throughout the season. He's only averaging 2.4 attempts per game, and I think you're going to see that number, slowly slide down throughout the season. He's averaging 5.9 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 0.3 steals, 6.7 points, and 1.7 blocks. Now, maybe that's why you're owning him, but if I'm owning Roy Hibbert in a 10 or 12 team standard league, I am cutting bait as fast as possible. This is a guy giving you 6 rebounds and 6.7 points. I mean, he's not helping you in either category, and he's shooting 42% from the field. I mean, he's a guy maybe I stream in on a Sunday if I need, 2 blocks and just hope he can get it. But he's also not getting the big minutes, and he's just not producing. I mean, in the last about 10 games, he's produced double-digit points one time. And that's it. He hasn't had a double-digit rebound game since December 15th, so almost a month. I feel like people are owning him for, those few good seasons he had in Indiana, but that seems to be gone now. I don't think they're coming back. This is the second poor season in a row. He is basically now just a block guy. He's still owned in 40.2% of ESPN leagues, and I feel like that number should drop. I mean, I feel like this guy should be owned in like maybe 15 or 20% of leagues. He's hurting you in so many categories that the one category he's helping you isn't really worth it. And now we will talk about the last player on the Lakers. The Lakers' biggest star in his final season, Kobe Bean Bryant. Kobe on the year is averaging 30.4 minutes. He's shooting a horrendous 35% from the field on 17.3 attempts. So basically, if you own Kobe Bryant, you are committing yourself to being last in field goal percentage. He's shooting 77.9% from the line. He's making almost 2 3-pointers a game, 1.9 3-pointers, and he's only shooting 26%. He's shooting a whopping 7.2 3-pointers a game. Now, I don't see the 3-pointers slowing down. If you've watched Kobe this year, you guys will know that he's kind of becoming more of a spot-up shooter this year, that, he's not kind of getting in the post and trying to back guys down. He's been doing a lot more just kind of catching and shooting. I think that's partially because he's been letting Clarkson and D'Angelo Russell, handle the ball, and so he hasn't been one of the primary ball handlers on the team. And so, I mean, I think the 3-pointers are here to stay, and he actually could, boost that up a little bit if he can get the percentage up. I mean, 26% is a pretty horrendous percentage, and I think he could shoot better than that. So I would be surprised to see him, get over 2 3-pointers a game for the season. He's averaging 4.2 rebounds, 3.5 assists, almost a steal at 0.9, 0.2 blocks, and 17.6 points. So, I mean, if you're looking at those numbers in total, you're thinking, wow, those are pretty all right. The field goal percentage kills me. But here's the thing about Kobe. He's ranked 152nd in Mark's rest of season 8 category roto rankings. And that's primarily because we don't really know how many games Kobe is going to play the rest of the way. He's 37 years old. He's got a lot of miles on him. This is, he's got 19 years. This is his 20th season in the NBA. And I feel like he wants to make it to the finish line this year. So he's going to sit out a lot of home games. He's going to try to play in every road city at least once, But I feel like in most of the home games, he's probably going to sit out and just try to rest up and, make it to the finish line. So in fantasy, he's not a guy I'm trying to own in a standard league. I'm going to cut bait. I'm going to pick him up if I know he's playing that night and stream him in maybe if I need the points and, threes boost. But he's also going to crush my percentage, my field goal percentage. And he's not really shooting, that spectacular from the line. I mean, 77% is fine, but it's not, great, and he's on 4.7 attempts. That's dragging that down a little bit too. I feel like Kobe is a guy who, yes, he's a huge name, and yes, everyone, it's sexy to own Kobe, but I feel like he's a guy that you've got to drop and just stream in if you need what Kobe's going to give you. He's not a guy I would be owning. Mark agrees with me, obviously, because he's ranked 52nd in his 8-category rest of season roto rankings. So as much as I'd like to say it, I'm dropping Kobe Bryant and I'm just streaming him in. I feel like, it's great to see where the Lakers are going to go here. I mean, Kobe obviously is retiring at the end of the year, and so it'll be interesting to see, number one, if they get their pick and who they get on the team next year and who they decide to build around. I mean, you would think they'd be trying to build around D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, and Julius Randle, but they're not really giving Randle those minutes, and Russell isn't starting and isn't getting huge minutes either. So, it'll be interesting to see where this team goes in the next few years. But there's their fantasy outlook for the rest of the season. There's one other thing I want to talk about. I was looking through the 8-category rest of season roto rankings on the dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. Everyone should really go and check them out. I mean, Mark does a great job with these. They're constantly updated. They're updated daily. The injuries are put in there, so we got guys taken out if they're injured, and that affects the game score on there. The games listed on there. They're great for trades. If you're going to make a trade, you can go on there and look and say, ooh, this guy's this, this valuable. And you can look at he has the projections on there too. So you can see, where they project in all 8 categories, or if you play in a 9-category league, he has the 9-cat roto rankings. He also has his head-to-head punch strategy rankings. If you want to go out and check them out. There's one guy I wanted to talk about though. He's another guy who's jumped 100 spots since the preseason, and that's Jay Crowder. Now, Mark and I talked about him a little bit last week, but I feel like this is a guy that you have to buy, okay? I feel like people are still really undervaluing him, and I honestly believe he's easily a top 50 player the rest of the way. So if you can buy this guy for like a top 75, top 80 player, you got to do that, okay? Now, according to Mark's projections, he's going to shoot 43.3% from the field, 81.6% from the line, 1.6 3-pointers, 5.3 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.8 steals, half a block, and 13.5 points. He doesn't hurt you anywhere. He's going to get you big steals numbers. He's going to get you good 3-pointers. He's going to get you decent assists, decent points, half a block, which is good from a shooting guard or small forward type. I feel like this is a guy who's really undervalued. He's averaging 32 minutes a game, and now is a good time to buy. So I'm going to end on that today. I feel like this is a great buying opportunity for him. And if you can go and trade someone, I actually just pulled off a trade in one of my leagues. I traded away Will Barton, who's ranked 67th in Mark's 8-category rest of season roto rankings, and I got Jay Crowder, who is 33rd. And I'm very happy with that trade. And I think that like a lot of people are definitely undervaluing Crowder and his rest of season projections. So that's it. That's all I'm going to end on today. It's going to be a little shorter today, guys. I'm flying solo. Don't want to bore you with my droning on and on and on. To recap this podcast, saw the return of Joakim Noah. Hassan Whiteside set out, so monitor his status. Saw the first game of the interim coach, Tony Brown. And then we discussed the Lakers. So keep owning Jordan Clarkson, stream in Williams, Russell, Randall, and drop Hibbert and Kobe Bryant. If you want to stream those 2 guys in, if you need what they have to offer, I'd go ahead and do it. So just a bit of housekeeping. You can follow me on Twitter at Watsy4444. So that's Watsy 4 4s. You can follow Mark on Twitter at Mark F. Roberts. You can follow Daniel on Twitter at Daniel A. Green 1. And you can follow Mike on Twitter at Watch the Boxes. Go and visit the dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. They got the great rankings on there. You can find all the podcasts on there. You can find the Week 12 rankings on there. So the rankings for this week, Mark and Daniel talked about that yesterday. And you can also find a few articles I've wrote, stats, trend, and rest of season value. I've written 3 so far. There'll be another one coming later this week. It's kind of a different fantasy article. It looks at stats and basically trends and, what to do with players going forward. So, if you're interested in that, go to the website and check that out. Thanks for tuning in today, guys.